Hi, welcome to this course. This course is all about doweling and stacking your cakes. So as you see here, I have a 3-tier round wedding cake and a 3-tier square cake. Now actually it's the same principle for both cakes, and I'll take you through step by step on how to dowel them. So also within the course I'll be showing you different dowels, because there's different dowels in the market now. Some are easier to use than other ones, and also how to obviously transfer the cake over. So once you've doweled it, and show you how many dowels to put on each tier, then show you how to actually transfer the cake, lift it over, and make sure you get a safe landing with the cake onto there. And if you do have any problems when you land, I'll show you a wee tip on how to fix that as well. And also common problems with doing the doweling as well. So really a good beginner's way, just to take that slight fear off of stacking cake and just to show you how easy it is and not to be worried about it at all. Okay, so thanks and hopefully you enjoy this one. Hi and welcome to this course. This little course is more about what you're about to learn in the up and coming courses, and I just want to give a little chat more in depth about doweling and why it's important. If you're just completely new to cake decorating, and going right back when I first started out, I do remember there was times where I didn't put dowels in the cakes, and it's just such a risk, especially if your cake's travelling over bumps and lumps or cobbled streets, etc. So you want to really make sure you've got the doweling sorted out inside your cake. So if you're really a new beginner to cake decorating, it's a must have the doweling in your cake. Because if you imagine if you spend all day making a cake and you don't put any dowels in your cake, can you imagine the disaster of a full day's work or even 2 days work just because you didn't put a dowel in the cake and it collapses. So this way I'm going to take you through step by step on how to dowel the cakes correctly, and how to not to worry about risk of collapse once you made the cake. And once you've learned how to dowel, it just opens your world up to so many different styles of cakes. It doesn't have to be wedding cakes, it could be a 2-tier handbag cake, it could be a teddy bear cake that's maybe big and it needs the head separate from the body. There's so many different techniques you can use for using the dowels, and it just takes the risk of collapse away and just makes it nice and easy for you. There's not much more I can say about this, so just have a look at the tutorial and please enjoy. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to stack a cake and how easy it is. So what I've got here is a 10-inch round, an 8-inch round and a 6-inch round behind me. So stacking the cake, what we want to do first of all is, doing this is we have to get a board that's the same size as the cake. We just sit it on top. Now you can get a ruler if you want to be really precise, so you don't make any mistakes. And just make sure it's definitely in the middle. So that's reading at 3 centimetres. And 3 centimetres, so that's good, so it's in the middle. You always check the other side, so 3, and just slightly under, so it needs to go this way a bit. There we are, okay. And then what we want to do is we want to mark a very light line. I'm going to do it quite hard so you can see it, but just a very faint line. Around there. And you can see there, we can see where that cake's then going to sit on top of here, okay. So once we've done that, then we've got the dowels to put in. Now, you can see here I've actually got all different dowels. So I've got long solid dowels, so little plastic ones. I've got actually just bubble straws, so very large straws. We have these new ones, and these new dowels that I've not used before. They're not new, I've just not used them before. And they're straws, but they've got ridges down in the inside of them, which makes them very strong. And the idea is you can pop them in, mark them, and just cut them with scissors, so really easy to cut. So these are fab, and then we've got the little brother one of it as well. So it's quite strange because they're quite flimsy, but if you think once it goes into the cake, it's got cake inside it, and once you put the pressure on it, it's completely fine and the cake stops it from moving. So just as strong as the solid ones and easier to cut as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll use 2 different styles, but we'll start off with the bottom with the standard ones. So when I put in a dowel on a cake, I want it to be inside the line of where the cake's going to be, so about 1 centimetre in. So imagine that's 12 o'clock, and then there's one at 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock, and then one in between. And then finish off with one in the middle, so that's 9 dowels altogether on the cake, okay? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. Now, I was interested, I was having a conversation with another cake designer, a girl who travels around a lot doing teaching, and then what she does is she puts the number of dowels to the size of the cake. So a 10-inch cake will get 10 dowels, a 9, 9, 8, 8, 7766, which is actually quite a good way to do it. It's a little 4-inch cake, it's only got 4 dowels underneath it. So I quite like that term, but I generally stick to the 9 all the way, because I just don't want to make sure, I don't want to risk any cakes collapsing at all. So once you've marked it out, you can just pop your dowel on top. Now you're going to get obviously two shots with this one, so you can put 4 in, and then you know the 4 will do the other 4 marks as well. So once you've got them in the cake, we just want to get a food pen, and lightly just mark the top of the dowel, like so. And then wire cutters, take it out the cake, and then put the wire cutter over the line, and then cut and put it in. Now if you're not strong enough to cut like that, then if you just put your the whole thing in a bag, and then you can use 2 hands to cut the dowel. Okay. There we go. And in essence what we're doing is we're creating a table, like a solid foundation that the cake can sit on. So there's absolutely no way the cake can collapse. Well, it is, but this takes a lot of the risk away. Okay, so there we are. Okay, and there we go. So this has got a dowelled cake, and it's ready now to be stacked. So to stack the cake, what I want to do is take the cake off the turntable. And just make sure I've got clean hands, because I don't want to get any chocolate on the side of the cake. Now normally at this stage I would say, where's the front and the back of the cake? At the moment there's no ribbon on the cake, so I don't really have a front or a back of the cake, so that's quite good. So what I want to do is bring this tier over. Now I want to see if there's any bits that I'm not happy with this one, I want to be at the back. And that looks fine, so I'm going to make that that's the front and that's the back. Okay, so that's the front there. Now I want to look at this one and just see if there is anything remotely that I want to be different. Nope, that's fine. And I want to then get down and check to see if they're both flat. So that one looks fine, and that one looks fine, so that's fine. If one has a slight tilt going one way and one going that way, obviously you want to try and counterbalance it if that's the case, but it all looks good there, so that's fine. So what I want to do is just get a little bit royal icing, and just put a little dot all the way around. And you can use ganache if you want to use ganache. Okay, so if this is going to be the front of the cake, I want to turn it around. So I always want to work on the back of the cake with the palette knife. Okay, so you get a palette knife and you want to put the palette knife under and into the cake. And we want to release the cake. So just give it a little twist. So I'll just show you. So a little twist, and that releases the cake. Okay, so make sure you've got a clean hand. And all I want to do is bend the palette knife down. And you can see there I'm lifting the cake up like that, and then over, and then down. And you very carefully just take the palette knife away from the back. Okay, so you can see there, so make sure, so I've got ganache on my hand, so I really want to make sure I've got clean hands just for touching the cake. Okay, so once it's on there, I just want to make sure it's inside the line. So I can see a little bit of line showing there. So I want to give it a wee shimmy to the left. Okay, that's fine. And then I just want to then turn it around to the front. Have a look. That's fine, so it needs to go a wee bit that way. And there we go, that's nice. And that's it, so that's that tier on. So I'm happy with that one. So if I quick tidy up when I come back, we're going to do the next tier. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the top tier. So putting the 6-inch on top of the 8. So the exact same process again. So I just want to put the card on top of the cake. Just make sure it's in the middle. So it's 2.5 centimeters, 3, so it needs to go that way. And then let's just see, so that's 2.5. And a little bit, so a little bit forward. There we are. Okay, and just around again. Again, I'll do it quite firm, just so you can see it. There we are. Okay, so that's good. Oops. So we'll use the straws this time. Okay, so the same thing again. So we want to put a straw in. Of course, it should hit the card below, like so. And then we just want to get the food pen. And you're going to see that because it's pink on red. And that's red as well. There we go, so a little black line on like so. Okay, and the idea with these ones, we just get scissors and you lift it out and you just cut and then you just pop that back in like so. Okay. So bring it out. So much easier to cut. Okay, so let's get the pen. Always make sure you put the dowel back in the one you take it out from as well, because the cake might be a little bit up and downy. There we are. So it's probably taking the same amount of time to do it, but it's definitely easier to cut them to size. There we are. Okay, so just put them over there. The other good thing, because they're red, obviously you can see them easily on the cake. So when they come to cut the cake, you can find the dowels quite easily. So royal icing again, round, down, round, round, round. There we go. Again, making sure I've got clean hands, if not. There we are. Okay. Right, so let's transfer the cake over. So this is the back of the cake. So I want to see if I've got a back to this cake. No, I'm pretty happy with that any side, so that's fine. Okay, so palette knife in. Now you just take it halfway and then just twist the knife and it releases. Okay, make sure you got a clean hand, and then we just want to lift it up. So bend the palette knife down, over to the cake, and there we go, as easy as that. Okay, take that away. Get rid of the dirty board, so there's no risk. And then we just want to make sure okay, so just make sure the cake's in the middle, and that looks good. Okay, and there we go. So that's just got one stacked wedding cake. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to stack a cake square styly. So we have a 10-inch cake with a 1/8-inch cake going on top. So I have an 8-inch cake drum, card, it doesn't matter. Place that on top, and then just get a ruler. And we want to just measure to make sure it's in the middle. Okay, so if I measure there, so it's 2.5 centimeters, 2.5 centimeters, that's fine. And just over 1 inch just over an inch, just to show different measurements. Okay, and then just get your tool. There we go. Okay, so you can see that's where the cake's going to sit. So I want to get the dowels. So I've got the straw doweling, and I want to put it just inside the line. So we're going diagonally across, like that. Okay, so if we just get a pen. Nope, not pink, doesn't show up. Black, there we are. Okay, and then just mark your level. And a pair of scissors, and then just cut. Okay, and then we're going to put one in the middle, like so. Oh. Make sure you put the dowel back in the place where you took it out. Okay, so just mark again with a food pen. And then there as well. There we are. Okay, and I want to get some royal icing. And we just want to pop some royal down. Oops. Now you can use royal icing or ganache, your choice. There we are, that's plenty. So I'm going to give myself plenty of space and make sure I've not got any ganache on my hands. So I'm about to touch the cake. So obviously it's better if the cake's set overnight, just so that it's nice and solid for you touching, all right? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to get down and just check what's going to be the front of the cake, just before I pop it on. So that's quite a nice side. I think I'll actually make that the front. That's a good one. Yeah. So if that's the front, I want to make sure this one looks nice. So that's a nice side. Okay, so I've not got a problem with any of these sides, so I'm going to make that the front. There. And then what I want to do is just check the level. So it looks flat. Yeah. And that one looks flat, so I'm not worried about having to balance it out. And then what I want to do is get a palette knife, pop it underneath the cake, bring it across halfway, and then just give it a little twist. And you see it releases it like that, okay? I want to put my hand on the side of the cake, bend the palette knife down, across here, lay it down, and then very carefully just pull the palette knife out, like so. Once we've done that, we just want to then make sure it's in the middle. Oh, I've got a big massive chocolate mark there, isn't that lovely? Just what I want at the front of the cake. Okay, so just making sure it's in the middle, which it is, so that's fine. Okay, so that's good. So what we can do with this mark is just get some of the magic ingredient. And just try and scrape off the majority of the ganache. There we go. There we are. And then just a little bit of tissue, clean tissue. And just try and wash that away. There we are. And that's done. Okay, so that's the middle tier done, so we come back with the top tier. Okay, so we're going to move on to the top tier, so putting the 6-inch cake on top of the 8-inch cake. So we've got the 8-inch cake with the 6-inch card on top, so again just measuring it. So that's saying 3 centimetres, and that's saying 3 centimetres. And if we do it in inches, then it's just short of 1.5 inches. And that's just 1 inch, so that's wrong. So pull it back. So that's 1.25 inches. 1.25 inches. That's fine. So there we go. So that's in the middle. And then I just want to then draw around the same thing again. There we are. Okay, and then we just get our dowel straws and just again placing in. Like so. Scissors. Now you can, if you want, just pull it out and then just cut. So you don't have to actually lift them right out. Okay, and then just continue on. And then the last one. There you go. Okay, lovely. And then what I want to do is just pop the royal icing on. Clean palette knife. And pop the top tier on. Okay, so same thing again, I just want to check what's going to be the front. Okay, so I think that will be the front. So palette knife in, halfway, twist. There we go. And then just lift and over and down. Okay, so once we've got that on, just I'm going to use a smoother just to make sure the cake still feels a bit soft. You use your smoother just to move it around on the cake. And there we go. So that's one stacked square cake. Okay, so I just want to give you a little tip on just how to get rid of any marks around the side of the cake. When you stack your cake, sometimes what you can find is a little bit of ganache, maybe pokes its head out at the side. So if you get a little paintbrush, then what you can do is you can just go on and just use the vodka just to wash any marks away. You can use any spirit that's in your cupboard. If you've not got any alcohol, you could use sort of lemon juice, just to sort of try and clean it. It just evaporates quicker than water. Okay. And there we go. So that's the cake cleaned up there. So very, very simple. So just a little tip on how to clean your cakes up. Okay, so now we're going to look at the common problems with stacking cakes and how to get around them, really. The most common problem with stacking cakes is when you stack the cake's sitting squint and you want to just start crying and walk away. So when you're stacking the cakes, really what you want to make sure is it's the very foundations of the cake So we're actually ganaching the cake. You want to make sure the cake's nice and flat. Now, once you've iced all your cakes and they're all flat, when you come to stack the cakes, you will notice that there might be a slight slope. So say just for instance, a cake sloping that way, not as severe as that, but just to give you an idea. So if you're going to put the next tier on, so this is the next tier, and it's also got a little slope of it. If you put the two on there, you can see the cake's going to fall over. So if one slope's sloping that way, when you look at the one, you want to try and balance it out that way. So you're starting to bring it to level, like so, okay? But it'll only be very slight. And probably not seen to the naked eye, just if you're more for a cake decorator's eye. But just try and balance it off a little bit like that, okay? So just make sure the levels all level up. The other problem you have is when you put the cake on, as you put it on there, it happens in one of the tutorials actually here, is when you put it on, you lean too far forward and you put ganache, and it marks the side of your cake around the side here. Don't worry about that, just make sure you get the cake centered in the middle and just get some vodka and just try and wipe off the mark there and dry it as quickly as you can so you're not left with a big water mark on the cake. Other problems are if you're going for a really tall cake, maybe like 5 or 6 tiers, and you think, well, gosh, how am I going to deliver that to the venue? Well, generally I wouldn't go any higher than a 4 tier, so I stack 4 tiers atop each other, then I try, if it's possible, and put the rest of the tiers on once I get to the venue, and then you're not risking the cake collapsing in that sense, because that's all the dowels are there for, is purely to stop cakes from collapsing. Other common problems that I've had in the past is we used to use wooden dowels, and one time we used them and I didn't like the cake, so I actually cut the cake up, we didn't eat it. And where the dowels had actually been in the cake, the wooden dowels, but the bit that they actually had the slice of cake, I could actually taste a slight bleachy taste to it. So we stopped using wooden dowels after that because I was worried that maybe the natural sap or whatever it is that's in the tree and the wood was leaking into the cake. So we stopped using wooden dowels after that and went on to plastic ones just to keep things safe. So that's another little tip there with the doweling. So the other thing is there's 2 ways you can actually dowel the cake to get a level. One is the way I'm going to show you on here, and that's just putting them and marking them individually. The second one, if you're really paranoid about the cake not being level, is you just measure one dowel in the cake and then you measure all other dowels side by side, so the dowels are all the same size. So when you put the dowels in the cake, if the cake's a little bit out, the cake will sink down to the height of the dowels, so you're always guaranteed it's going to be the same height all the way up. But that's only if you're really not got a straight eye and you want to make sure it's definitely level. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else with the sort of dowel. The other thing, obviously make sure, an interesting story happened way back at the start when I made a cake for a customer, and she was cutting the wedding cake up herself. She came in the Monday morning to complain there was plastic dowels in the cake and how she couldn't use the cake. So she hadn't realised that the dowels were important for the cake. She thought we'd baked dowels for some strange reason into the cake, especially if you're using wooden ones, because people think it's a bit weird having wood in the cake. So if it's someone who's on a home wedding or a home party and they're not really familiar with doweling, just explain there's actually dowels in the cake, because it makes them not look stupid when they come back into the shop on the Monday to complain. And the first question says, well, who was your caterer? And obviously if they've not got a caterer done it themselves, it makes them feel a little bit stupid. So just always explain to customers there's actually doweling inside the cake to stop the cake from collapsing. So I think that's most of the sort of problems with doweling, and hopefully you've enjoyed this little course, and it's just gave you a little bit more relaxed about doweling cakes.